Hi there. So my name is Mr. Lewis. Many of our current parents, you might know me. I'm the deputy head teacher of our school, and one of the roles I have at school is the teaching and learning head of school. This presentation video is for prospective parents and current parents to give you a little bit more information about our curriculum. Unfortunately, over the last sort of 18 months, we've been unable to hold any large events in school where we can get parents in. So we've done this video to try and give you a bit of information about our curriculum. And you'll see along the bottom is our vision, the school vision, building foundations for a love of life, a love of learning, and a love of one another. This is really important because our school revolves around that. And so this presentation is mainly around the love of learning side of it, but it also encompasses the other two as well, which I'll get on to as we go through. Hopefully it won't be a very long video, but we'll give you just a bit of information about how we teach, because we have made lots of changes over the last 12 months. So to give you a little bit of information about our school, particularly for prospective parents, because I sometimes think that some of our new parents think we're quite a small village church school. And whilst Upton itself is a very small village, we are actually quite a big school in terms of primary school. We've got 418 on roll, and our catchment area is quite wide. So we don't have children just from the village. We've got children from various surrounding areas close to Upton St Leonards as well. And we have 11.5% children on our special educational needs register and 11.5% on pupil premium, which is about the national average. Just to give you a bit of information about the school. Now, our curriculum is driven by our 4 core values. So they're on the screen there: love, respect, perseverance, and truthfulness. We talk to children a lot about these values. Love is at the center of everything. So that vision, again, love of life, love of learning, and love of one another. And all our subjects have been written, the curriculum, with these 4 values being the key driver behind them. We want our children to leave our school having these 4 core values with them, and they can take them on. They're core values for life with the church, and we definitely want children having these 4 things for the rest of their life. There's an image there of the head teacher award. Every week we hand out head teacher awards in our celebration worship, and they revolve around these 4 core values. So we're always pushing our children to develop these 4 values. The other main thing that runs through our curriculum, and what we call our golden thread, is cultural diversity. So we aim over the children's time here, if they spend all 7 years with us, or if they spend a part of that time with us, we're looking to improve their cultural diversity. What that means is in all our subjects, we actively look for opportunities to broaden our children's minds and develop well-rounded individuals. We want children who respect people from different cultures, different backgrounds, different religions. We want children who've got tolerance and acceptance towards others. And that's one of the key British values, is tolerance. We come from an area which is predominantly white, British and Christian or no religion. And therefore it's our job to make sure children know there's a whole world out there, and that they've got this diverse range of experiences. So whether it's reading, RE, history, geography, we look for ways in which we can develop that acceptance and tolerance towards all cultures. This is a little bit about how we teach. So it is very, very different compared to maybe when I was in school, or when some of you were in school, and it's quite significantly different from even a couple of years ago. So Mr. Broadbent and I have been in positions at school now for around about 18 months, and we've made quite some changes in the way we teach. The main reason for that is we want children to know more and remember more. So there's a real push now on knowledge. We want our children having a far greater knowledge base, because you can't apply skills unless you've got the knowledge underneath it. So I'll run through some of these 8 things that we are looking for from our teachers, and you'll see if you ever came to visit lessons that we see on a lesson by lesson basis. The first one is modelling. So we try and chunk our lessons into much smaller steps. We don't want to overload children. If you try and ask children to do too much too soon, it ends up being an overload. And we now do far, far smaller chunks with lots of practice and lots of modelling, so they know how to be successful in that lesson. We call this I do, we do, you do. So the teacher might model something, then as a class they learn together, and then ultimately we want the child to apply it independently. That can only be achieved with direct instruction. So we do not look for children to miraculously find out things. We show them, we teach them, we show them how to do things, and then that lessens the load on them. The cognitive load is a phrase we use a lot with our staff. Cognitive load is quite simply the amount of information a child can take in at once. And if that load's too high, it's likely that the end outcome will be unsuccessful or not as successful as it could have been. Non-examples and misconceptions are also shared. So we model incorrect ways to do things. So we try and then push children to that. If they find themselves doing that, they know that's incorrect. So that's quite commonly seen in maths lessons, but we're trying to broaden that out towards lots of lessons, because things that we do in maths and English, we'd like to see done across the curriculum. So I spoke already about the fact we want children knowing more and remember more. Our curriculum is knowledge rich. So knowledge is prioritized, so children gain a deep understanding of that concept. What we are not looking for is children to have a very superficial level of learning across a range of topics. We want children to know things and have a deep understanding. And we'd rather them have a deep understanding of less skills and knowledge than having a wide superficial level of knowledge. So we've designed units now which have what we call key ideas or powerful knowledge. And that's important that that knowledge is learned, because that's going to become important when the child moves on to the next year group or future year groups. So for example, in year 4, our children learn about electricity in science. That also comes up in year 6. So we've got 8 key facts, 8 pieces of powerful knowledge which the children need to learn in year 4, because that will help them when it comes to year 6. And we've designed the curriculum now so that every unit's got these bits of key powerful knowledge which we need the children to learn. Staff are also much more well read. So we've become a school which is really pushing educational research. So we are hopefully at the forefront of any new ideas and new practice. And then they've got the depth. It's very, very difficult to teach something if you haven't got the depth of knowledge. And so our staff have got far more knowledge now than maybe what we've had in previous years. Ultimately, the aim of our curriculum is that children make progress. That's what we exist for, that children make academic progress. Obviously, there's other reasons why we exist as a school, lots of social, emotional, health reasons, but a big, big reason why we exist is that children make academic progress. And so we've designed a curriculum that's now spiral-based. So it builds year on year, and knowledge is built on year. We no longer teach through topics. So you may have had children in the past who've learned a topic. We now teach subject-specific skills. So we teach the children about science, geography, history, art, not a broad topic which has no subject-specific skill. And at the end of the unit, we look to do some form of assessment task. That doesn't mean a test. Sometimes that might mean children orally telling us what knowledge they've gained, but we're looking for them to demonstrate that they have gained knowledge and made progress. Enrichment's a huge driver for us. Some of our children are well-travelled, will have lots of experiences outside of school. Some of our children will have minimal experiences outside of school. So we want to try and make the curriculum come to life. We take them on trips to widen that experience, but we're looking for that awe and wonder. But that doesn't mean that we want to do subjects where the children just enjoy that one lesson and then forget about it. We want the subject to become the awe and wonder, so that children enjoy studying art, computing, DT, geography, and so on, not because of one trip, but because they can see themselves the benefit to that subject. And then we celebrate diversity and achievements throughout the year in many ways, including our worships. Reading is a huge push for our school. There's another video on our website all about reading. But reading is a huge priority, and we make no apologies about that. As a school, safeguarding is our #1 priority, because we have to ensure children are safe. After that, reading is the next biggest priority. So even in non-reading based lessons, so for example, a geography or history lesson, we still have a push on reading. Children still read texts, because the reality is the more children read, the more knowledge they have, and the better they are going to do in school and therefore in later life. So in most lessons, children are now reading around the subject matter. That might be a small paragraph some days, it might be a short story other days, but they will be reading something linked to that subject. The class read texts which are heavily linked to the topic, so the links then can be made. So we might, for example, have a story being read, which is being set in a historic time, which links to the history the class are learning in that time. And the teacher reads aloud and reads eloquently with expression. We push our teachers to read to children all the time. So it's not just children reading themselves, it's also teachers reading to children. And we'd really encourage parents, if you ever have any time at home, reading to your child is one of the most beneficial things you can do. A big part of school is the support children get. And so we obviously want children to receive quality first teaching, but sometimes they need something different, and that might need a small step instruction. It might need something slightly differentiated for them, but what we don't look to do is change the task. So we're always looking for children to complete the same task. They might just get there in a different way. It might be they have support from the teacher, support from the adult, support from some resources, but we want children ultimately achieving the same aim. And we feel if we can do that, their confidence is going to build, and then they'll become less dependent on that support. So whether your child has an SEN need or not, if we find in a lesson a child needs some support, we put that support in place as much as possible within the lesson. And if it can't be done within the lesson, we do what we call scoop groups. So we try and scoop children up straight away, so that the gap between those children who have understood in the lesson and those who didn't understand the lesson is reduced straight away. That's not always possible. Sometimes it has to come back to a structured intervention. And so some children will participate in an intervention outside of class time, but that support is there for them because we ultimately want all children to be achieving the same end goal. I've already spoken a little bit about knowledge, but we want children to have that deep understanding. And so substantive concepts are identified in the subjects, and the understanding of these is deepened, and we do that by revisiting. So our curriculum now has far more emphasis on revisiting information so that children can retrieve knowledge quickly. Teachers will make links to prior learning, and so we're just trying to almost get the cogs going in a child's brain. So when we start a new lesson, we just recap on the last time we came to that, so it just gets their brain firing. And then we find that they're far more successful in the lesson by just having that quick starter to get those the links going. And that can be done in many, many ways. It could be that the teacher discusses something, it could be a quiz, it could be a starter task, but we're just trying to constantly revisit information. What that means is that we ask our teachers to do less content, but children to have a better understanding. And that's really what we're pushing for, is for children to have a far, far deeper understanding of less things, because that's more important than children knowing a very little superficial amount about a lot of things. And so the last bit there about how we teach our curriculum is we now have a heavy, heavy focus on retrieval. So all of our lessons now start with a quick quiz or quick starter activity. And sometimes that's as quick as a minute, sometimes it might be a bit longer, but we're just looking for them to strengthen their memory. So there is loads of educational research which suggests that assessing and quizzing children is one of the easiest ways to get information into their long-term memory. And that's our goal. Our goal is to try and get as much information from a child's working memory into their long-term memory. Now, without going too much into the science, the long-term memory has an infinite working space. Okay, different children, you can get as much into that long-term memory, but it's about how we do that. And one of the ways we do that is through regular retrieval. We also have knowledge organisers. Now on our website, there's another video about how knowledge organisers could be used at home and how they're used in school to help you. Knowledge organisers contain the knowledge within each unit that we expect a child to learn. And the only way that a child's going to learn that is by constantly revisiting. So we refer to them in every lesson. And if they can do that at home on a little and often basis, we'll see a huge difference. We also now celebrate that remembering of knowledge. It's an important part of our culture. We celebrate it in worships, we celebrate it in year groups, we celebrate it in classrooms. We want children understanding and realizing that remembering things is important. That's ultimately what we want. Ofsted defined learning as a change in the long-term memory. So we want children having more information in that long-term memory. We want to change the long-term memory so children know more and remember more. Now, At the moment, due to COVID, we've had very, very few opportunities to get parents into school. We would like, when hopefully things allow, to get parents in so you can see some of these changes in action. You can see some of the teaching, some of the lessons, and how we expect children to learn. But what we are saying is that we want a push on knowledge. And that's not easy. It's a big change from where primary schools probably were over sort of 3-4 years ago, where a lot of it was about experiences and activities and children participating in things. We're now making it very clear to our children we want them to remember more. And that has meant a change in the way we teach. And we've already started to see the benefits. We've only been going a few months. We are seeing children know more in certain subjects, particularly subjects which have that understanding of the world, things like science, history, geography, RE. We are seeing a huge difference. Please go and visit our other videos. I've got a video on reading and on knowledge organisers. And in those videos, I explain how parents can possibly help, because reading is absolutely paramount to a child's success in school. If you have any questions about how we teach, about the curriculum we offer, please look on the website or speak to the class teacher or speak to myself. I'm more than happy to speak to any parent or prospective parent about how we teach and what we're looking to achieve. And hopefully there you've seen a few ideas and that we are really trying to push this idea of knowledge going into the long-term memory of a child. All right, if you have any questions, please do speak to us and we'll do our best to help you. Okay, thank you for watching.